back. I'm Tedward and welcome to my summer daily driver. This is my 2023 Honda Civic Type R, the FL5 generation, the latest and greatest, and they've discontinued it in places in Europe, and it makes me wonder if this car will be around for much longer and what its successor might end up being. Would it be electrified? Not so sure, but not gonna worry right now. But today I wanted to show off my car as an update because it's almost at 20,000 miles. But in addition to that, I've swapped on the Apex wheels in the Bridgestone RE71 RS tires. The car is absolutely filthy, which wasn't how I wanted to present it. However, I just went and spent the 4th of July weekend up in New Hampshire with my friends. It was amazing. And I took this. There's some dirt roads that you gotta take to get to the house up the mountain. I was a little worried because 200 tread wear tires sometimes just absorb every imperfection, every sharp thing. And I just always find myself getting more flat tires in a 200 tread wear tire that's more designed for the track than the street. But alas, I wanted the look. So what are we working with? This is an Apex VS5RS. It's 18-inch diameter. I wanted to go down an inch because the stock wheels are 19s, and 19s are fine. There's just enough sidewall. The old car, the FK8, had 20s, and that was actually pretty problematic. People were busting tires and bending wheels left and right. So the 19 was the correct choice. However, for the track, which is really the goal of having this setup, is to be able to go and have a nice sticky track day and not destroy my daily driver street tires. This is what I wanted to go with. It gives me a little extra sidewall, which gives me more room to play with in terms of adjusting tire pressures and getting a little bit of roll. It also makes the ride a little more compliant, and from what I understand, usually having a little bit of sidewall allows for you to get longer sessions without destroying the tires because you can manage more heat. There's obviously more thermal capacity in a tire like this. So you can comment below if you disagree with everything I'm just saying, but that's been my experience. What I've done though is wrapped it in a Bridgestone RE71 RS. This is the latest and greatest in 200 tread wear kind of track but DOT legal street / track tires. These are very, very high performance. This is not what I would recommend just putting on your daily driver because you are going to destroy these very, very quickly. That's okay. I kind of like that. And really, I was only planning on using these tires in order to go to the track this summer, but every weekend has been filled with travel or other social obligations. I haven't really been able to just get a Saturday or Sunday out at the track with this car. So I got impatient and I said, Edwin at Garage 42, he said to me, he's like, I've been staring at these wheels. I mounted these tires for you. We got to put them on the car. Just drive it. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. We're driving it. So this weekend, I finally bit the bullet. We put the wheels on. I think it looks so good. I know that they maybe look a little bit small, but from the right angles, I just think it hits right. And also having an 18-inch instead of a 19-inch, I think looks more track appropriate than the 19-inch. The 19-inch looks better, but the 18-inch I just think tells people what you're up to. Then the other thing is the stock lug nuts. Let me show you. The stock lug nuts on the Honda wheels, the ones that come with the car, they are massive. Pardon my asthma medication. These are just giant, giant, giant lugs. And what happens is when you want to use these and fit them in, they don't seat very well on most wheels other than the stock Honda wheels. So what we did was I went out and got, let's see, I think I have the box in here actually. Oh, there it is. Okay, this is what I got. I got monster lugs, and so the thing about these is they are definitely strong. And my friend Eddie Siegel, who runs his FK8 in Grid Life, you've definitely seen the Acuity car out there. He runs these, but part of the thing is he runs them with like really long studs, and I was like, I just never noticed how long those lugs were. But so when we first put these on, I'm like, this looks so goofy. But then I started looking at everybody's race cars and I'm like, you know what? It's fine. I got a little nervous that they were looking very Mad Max-ish, like I'm in a semi truck with spikes coming out and I'm about to go chariots of fire on your ass. But these are working for me now. And honestly, I don't care because they're seated properly, they're safe, and they're strong. So at the end of the day, they're doing the job of a lug nut. And that's really all I can ask for. I'm not the most aesthetic guy. I mean, I want things to look good, but as long as they're functional, I'm usually good to go. Anyway, quick walk around the car. I've got the Aston Martin of New England license plate frame because that's what Bond Group used to be. Down here, my goodness, is it filthy. That dirt road really caked up this exhaust. I'm gonna have to do a proper wash on this thing. But otherwise, now, this thing is very, very grippy. It's a little louder on the road, which you'll get a taste of, but not bad. My R888Rs and my Nitto NT01s that I ran on my Porsche and my M3, my E92 respectively, those tires I think are much louder than the RE71 RS, and that's what I'm finding fascinating, is that I'm able to run this like very extreme tire and it's okay. It's actually okay. The only problem is now it encourages me to drive on on-ramps very, very, very quickly. So let's jump in and take this for a ride. Oh, the car is so filthy. Good God. And I apologize. I'm such a function over form kind of guy in real life. That's why I swapped this dash cam between different cars. So that's why I just have a wire hanging down. I know it should go up and around. I hear you. I hear the comments. But you know what? You know what? It works. Like, there's Mark. Interviewing Alexander Skarsgård. That's always a lovely thing to hear. Anyway, right now we are at, what are we at? 19,870 miles. This, I used to do the free oil changes over at the McGovern Honda dealership where I bought it in Everett, and I started doing them myself. So I did the last one at about 15 or 16,000. So we're due for another 5,000 mile oil change pretty darn soon. And then I get to decide if I'm going to run probably 5W30 for any track days, just because 0-20 is a little light. This car, not tuned whatsoever. This car is bone stock other than the wheels and tires. Unlike the Topher, we drove his car recently. It's hilarious. Just driving this even in a parking lot is very funny to be able to do crazy things at even low speeds. But yeah, the Topher, his car is tuned. It is definitely quite a bit faster. He also has the DE5 Acura Integra Type S damper module, which makes it a bit softer in the comfort setting, especially, which is lovely. But you know what? I've really grown to adapt to what the FL5 is. I never do this route in my own cars, but this is the Bond Group route, and we're gonna take it out. Oh, it's a pretty quick car. But you can tell compared to the Topher's car, which we drove a few weeks ago out in Michigan, that car with the tune is just such a game changer. You get so much more torque. I don't know what that does in terms of like longevity with the car. You know, adding boost and torque and power to things is always a little bit of a recipe for taking away from things somewhere else. But I do think that these K20C ones are pretty robust, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. It is fun to pothole dodge in this car. And now that I've got some sticky boys on here, it's wonderful. All right, I saw some orange, so we'll be a little cautious and make sure we don't run into any construction or tree people. So we're obviously going to do some track testing with these tires, and I've done some track testing with these tires in the past. In fact, I was flown out to Atlanta Motorsports Park, AMP, in Atlanta, where Bridgestone was featuring a bunch of new tires. So we drove the Bridgestone Sports, we drove their new all-season, and then in addition to that, we got some track time in the Civic Si TCA cars. So those are like the proper factory-built race cars with a cage and all that good stuff. They're designed so you can go out doing racing just straight from the factory. Powertrain identical, but they threw us out there on RE71 RSs around the time when those tires were launching, maybe a little bit after, and I was just blown away. I love this chassis. So the SI still shares a chassis with this, obviously a little different in some respects suspension-wise, but in the TCA cars for sure. But the tires were just so outrageous. And we were doing lead follow laps with a Civic Type R, and I just remember wanting to drive that Type R so badly because it was on the RE71 RSs, and I wanted to see what it would feel like with some juicy power, because the SI is only about 200 horsepower. So it would have been very, very cool to drive that. Now I own the car with the tires, so I gotta get out and drive it. But I figured, for those of you who are just, I know a lot of people overkill their modifications. They go a little nuts with lowering their cars. They go a little nuts with their wheel size. They go a little nuts with tuning. They go a little nuts with interior stuff where you've got to run 6-point harnesses with the cage, and then you're realizing, oh my goodness, if I bonk my head on this cage, it's lights out. Cars can get very uncomfortable very, very quickly, and one of the fastest, cheapest ways to modify a car for performance is tires and wheels. You get lighter wheels, so you have less unsprung weight, cars can handle better, and you get stickier tires that are going to manage all kinds of stuff for you in a much better way. Good God, people drive so slow. Look out, little bird. Who but WB Mason? Well, I guess if I'm asking who's going to block me on these corners, that's who it is. But maybe it'll be a godsend, because there'll be like some police intervention up there and he's stopping me from getting arrested. So, the best thing you can do is wheels and tires for your car if you're just looking for some quick updates and a little extra performance in a corner, because you don't need power if you can sustain higher speeds mid-corner. And the beauty of these is that, yes, they are going to wear a lot faster than a Michelin Pilot Sport 4S or anything like that. However, they are also gonna be fast, and that's fun. Good God, we live in a world where you can't utilize any of your performance modifications because we've got this faceless WB Mason truck going 26 miles an hour. While we're here, how has living with the Honda been? Honestly, I love this car. I have definitely knocked down a couple MPGs on these tires. Don't ignore that, because that was a start and restart really quickly. I was getting about 27, 28 miles per gallon, where typically it was a little easier to achieve 29 to 30. Part of it might be because I'm driving a little faster because I'm amped up and excited about my tires, but initial anecdotal evidence suggests that a very sticky tire with the higher rolling resistance is going to net us slightly less fuel economy, which is fine. That's okay. These are sacrifices we make. This is okay. Plus R mode. That's something. Lots of grip. Now, these tires are like not warm right now, so that's just like a little taste. That's honestly like cold. They're getting a tiny bit of heat. Like on a racetrack, you'd be going out and that would be your warm up, just to get things, warmed up and start to get that grip going. I apologize. I have not turned off the annoying noise in plus R mode. We'll go back to individual mode, where the goofiness of that fake piped in engine noise is not present in the cabin. But I wanted to do that with the full stiff suspension, just to kind of get a taste of what it would feel like, because I haven't really gotten to chuck this thing around at speed yet. So I'm still like warming myself up to like what these are capable of. It is quite impressive though. It is quite impressive what these tires are capable of, and still offering me like a reasonable experience as a daily driver. Like, this is kind of nuts. I know this is like a really silly test case of them, because like the point of these tires is to go out and like do time attack and have a fun track day and just add performance to a track car. But I do think that it's valid that they are DOT street legal, that you are supposed to be able to drive these to the track and back, and obviously that they'll be legal in whatever racing series you're doing. But they're not painfully loud. You certainly hear them more than a standard max performance tire or something like that, but this is pretty darn good. I'm really impressed, and I wasn't expecting to want to leave them on the car, despite the fact that I'm going to wear through them very quickly. I like to sink my teeth into this. I like that the Honda still has like a tiny bit of body roll too. It's not so stiff. I mean, granted, we're in comfort mode, but it is a relatively stiff car, but you still get a little bit of body roll to like sink into it. Plus, I think the sidewall on these 18s helps it out. And this actually, it's so funny. The old line up here is the perfect line. Look where this is faint right here and in. That is so wild how it basically has a Gran Turismo Forza level line painted on the road. That's just the perfect line for taking that corner. I love it so much. Be nice and gentle here. We've got Stadies on the left. We want to let this fella merge. We just want the whole system to work in harmonious symbiosis. And now we've got a Camry with a wing and an exhaust, and it's kind of funny. I don't understand that. I know this isn't what this video is about, but I don't understand Camry TRD. I don't understand Avalon TRD. It makes no sense to me. Through the dip. Oh, yes. Wow. Okay, wow. The limits of these tires are really high. Like, really high. I'm still not there yet. I just don't want to get it fully sideways. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. I can't believe what this is capable of. Very impressive. Go out here. Wow. So this is like kind of a tail-happy front-wheel drive car, and it's not on these tires. Like this, the rear end is so planted. I'm so blown away by how stuck this thing is. Wow, that turn, I mean, you could have carried through. Yeah, I gotta adapt to this level of grip. I haven't really driven front-wheel drive platforms with this much grip before in a long time. Wow. This is just something else. Oh, I'm gonna have a lot of fun on track days in this car. What a beautiful thing. Holy cow. Well, that's gonna do it for the Honda on some sticky boys. Holy cow. I know they're not really meant to be your street tires, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm having a lovely time running silly track tires on the street. It's a good time. Things to be aware of if you're unfamiliar with the realm of slicks or 200 treadwear tires. The boundaries of these tires, the limits of these tires, while quite high, are also a little bit thinner, right? So when you start to let go, they snap. You have just pulled an elastic band as tight as it can go, and it's like if you had a weak elastic band, well, you know, if it's gonna snap, it's not gonna hit just so hard. But if you've got a really nasty elastic band and that puppy snaps, and when I say snap, I mean like that's when you've lost grip. Boom, it's happening so fast and furious that you just need to be really ready for it. So what I don't want anyone to do is I don't want anyone to just go put like stupid tires on their car and then just go drive it the same way they were driving on their All Seasons or their PS4S's or something. Like build your way up to it and use them in a safe environment where if you do lose the rear end or if the whole four-wheel drift occurs, you're good to go. You're going to be okay if you end up facing another direction. Don't see a lot of people smoking cigs anymore. I feel like that's a thing of the past. Interesting. So anyway, that's going to do it for me. I'm having fun with some gold wheels. If I hadn't mentioned it before, the tire sizes are stock. Oh yes. I don't know how they are in the rain. Probably okay at best. So that's going to do it for me on the new wheel and tire setup. Any questions, ask below. I can't wait to take you guys on a track day in this car. Very excited to push it to the limits over and over and over again, and hopefully this oiling system can keep up with some extra G-forces. It'll definitely make me want to modify things. That's the thing. You start with one thing and you go, ooh, now that I got all these grippy tires, maybe I want to change something in the suspension or blah, 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 blah. And it's a real slippery slope. So I'm going to try to just leave it at the tires for now because I like this car as stock. It makes for a good daily driver / track rat. Anyway, don't forget to respect the drive, and I will see you in the next one.